Most people break long before the world ever sees them fall. Not publicly, privately. They break in small moments. The alarm goes off, they hit snooze. They said they will work out, they skip. They said they will save more money, they spend it. They say they will write the page, they scroll. They say they will become different, but they keep choosing the same version of themselves. And they wonder why life doesn't change. The truth is simple. Your life is not built by promises you make in public. Your life is built by the promises you keep in private. Because promises become public evidence. Private discipline becomes public confidence. Private repetition becomes public results. The world only sees the outcome. You know where it was built. It was built in the room nobody sees. It was built when nobody clapped. It was built when nobody reposted. It was built when nobody cared. That is where the real self is formed. Not in attention, in isolation. Not in applause and repetition. Not in motivation and strategy. Most people don't need a new life. They need a new standard. Because your standard is the floor your life refuses to fall beneath. If your standard is comfort, comfort will lead you. If your standard is discipline, discipline will build you. If your standard is excuses, excuses will own you. But if your standard is execution, your future begins to recognize you. You don't become strong because you said powerful words. You become strong because your actions gave those words proof. A man can say, I am disciplined, but the gym knows the truth. A woman can say, I am focused, but the phone screen knows the truth. A person can say, I want freedom, but the bank account knows the truth. Your life is recording everything. Every choice, every excuse, every promise, every betrayal, every comeback, and every private victory. And eventually the evidence becomes undeniable. That is confidence. Confidence is not noise. Confidence is memory. It is your mind remembering every time you did what you said you would do. Every time you chose the harder road, every time you showed up tired, every time you kept going without being celebrated. That is how trust is built. Not with the word, with yourself. And self-trust is one of the most valuable currencies on earth. Because when you trust yourself, fear loses authority. When you trust yourself, distractions lose power. When you trust yourself, hard things stop looking impossible. They start looking familiar. Because you've already proven something to yourself. You have proof that you can endure. Proof that you can choose. Proof that you can act. Proof that you can keep the promise. And once a person trusts themselves, they become dangerous. Not dangerous to people. Dangerous to excuses, dangerous to limitations, dangerous to the old identity that kept them trapped. The old version of you survives through broken promises. Every time you say tomorrow, it gets stronger. Every time you avoid the work, it gets louder. Every time you negotiate with your old standard, it takes control. The future version of you survives through kept promises. Every rep feeds them. Every page feeds them. Every dollar invested feeds them. Every honest decision feeds them. Every disciplined morning feeds them. So the question is not, do you want to change? I mean, everybody wants to change. The real question is, which version of you are you feeding? The old self or the future self? Because both are hungry. One feeds on excuses. The other feeds on evidence. One feeds on comfort. The other feeds on discipline. One feeds on delay. The other feeds on action. And every day you choose which one gets stronger. That is the quiet war. Not the world against you. You against the version of you that keeps choosing less. You against the version of you that keeps shrinking the vision. You against the version of you that keeps asking for permission. You against the version of you that wants the reward without the responsibility. But hear this clearly. Your future self is not asking for perfection. They're asking for proof. Proof that you are serious. Proof that you are awake. Proof that you are willing to become someone new. Proof that the promise still matters. You don't need to change your entire life today. You need to keep one promise. Just one. Not 10, not 20, just one. For 7 days. When you wake up when you said you would. Train when you said you would. Write when you said you would. Pray when you said you would. Read when you said you would. Save when you said you would save. And make the call you said you would make. Keep the promise long enough to rebuild the relationship with yourself. Because most people don't hate discipline. They hate the version of themselves that keeps breaking their own word. And once you repair that relationship, everything changes. You stop begging for motivation. You start relying on evidence. You stop waiting to feel ready. You start moving because movement is who you are. You stop asking, what do I feel like doing? And start asking, what does my future require? That question changes everything because feelings are temporary. The future is permanent. Comfort is temporary. Regret is permanent. Excuses are temporary. Consequences are permanent. So build the life from the future backwards. Ask, what kind of body will my future self need? What kind of mind? What kind of money habits? What kind of circle? What kind of discipline? What kind of faith? What kind of courage? Then start paying the price now. Not someday, right now. Because the future is not built in the future. The future is built in private. Today. In this decision, in this room, in this moment. Stand up. Both feet on the ground. Stomach in, chest out, shoulders back. And breathe in. Hold it for 4 seconds. And breathe out. Again, breathe in like you're done negotiating with weakness. And breathe out like you're releasing the old identity. Now say this. I keep my word. I do not negotiate with excuses. I do not wait to feel ready. I build proof. I create evidence. I feed my future self. I starve my old limitations. I'm not owned by comfort. I'm not controlled by fear. I'm not waiting for permission. I move, I build, I become. And today I keep the promise. Now understand this. One day your future self will look back at this season. They will not ask you if it was easy. They will ask you if you were faithful to the promise. Did you show up? Did you keep going? Did you become who you said you would become? Because the promise was never just about success. It was about trust. Trusting yourself again. Respecting yourself again. Becoming proud of yourself again. That is the art of self. Not becoming someone else. Becoming the person you are always responsible for building. Your future is watching. Keep the promise.